The White House says President Obama is ready to sign a compromise bill letting Congress vote on a final deal, nuclear deal with Iran. The president backed down on Tuesday after the bill's supporters showed they had the votes to override a veto. The White House did make some changes in the bill. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee approved the measure 19-0. The full Senate is expected to consider it as soon as next week.
A new poll shows more than two-thirds of Americans believe Congress should have a role in deciding whether the United States supports a nuclear deal with Iran. Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill is with us from Capitol Hill. She is a leading Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Help us understand what new power this gives Congress, new real power it gives Congress, and whether we would be having this question if there was not concern, not only among Republicans, but also Democrats, about the Iran deal.
Well, first of all, this bill is about a process. And the White House was engaged in helping forge this compromise. It really now is just going to allow a supermajority of the Senate to reject the deal. Not a simple majority, not even 60 votes.
67.
67. And keep in mind, we have 46 Democrats. So part of me, the cynical part of me, thinks that maybe the Republicans capitulated on this because they understand the alternative to no deal is a very dangerous proposition, especially if you understand the parameters of this deal that has been agreed to by not just the United States and Iran, but by Russia, China, France, Germany, the United Kingdom. And so I do think that as we move forward and hopefully as the deal gets fleshed out in the coming weeks, Americans will begin to understand what the alternative is to rejecting this deal. And I think it, frankly, is much more dangerous in terms of Iran getting a nuclear weapon than us, and in fact, potentially embracing this deal at the end of the day.
But, Senator, why shouldn't Congress have more oversight and more say in the ability to reject this? I mean, when sanctions are phased out, Iran will gain billions of dollars more in oil revenue. And it's no secret that Iran is the chief destabilizer in the region that supports Hezbollah, that supports Assad, that supports the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
There's no question that we cannot raise sanctions until Iran performs. And this isn't about trusting Iran. This is about having an agreement where we can verify 24/7 whether or not they have violated this agreement. And so this is not about trust. We don't trust Iran. We never trust Iran. And we're keeping all options on the table. And I do think that Congress should have a role. I think the reason the White House pushed back in the beginning, because the way the bill was drafted was going to provide Congress more authority than they should have. And I think now with the compromises that have occurred, that's why I think you're going to see a near unanimous vote. I think we all agree, including the White House, that this process is important.
Senator, two things. How are things between you and Hillary Clinton? There seemed to be bruised feelings when you supported Barack Obama back in 2008. That's the first thing. And what do you make of her low-key campaign so far, road trip to Iowa in Scooby, and meeting with people face-to-face?
Well, first of all, we're great. I've had several conversations with Secretary Clinton, and she seems relaxed. She seems determined, strong, capable, and I think she's doing this because this is the way she wants to do it. You know, no matter how she rolled out, the Hillary haters would be out in force. She would be criticized no matter what she did. So I think she is doing this her way, which is listening, trying to keep it low key, making people understand that she gets that she's got to earn. She's got to earn the respect and confidence of the American people. And at the end of the day, they're going to vote on whether or not Hillary Clinton is going to fight for them or whether or not this array of Republicans is really a good choice for most of America. And I think she's going to come out on top in that equation.
Senator, could I raise a question of your tweeting life? You know I went to Duke.
Yes, you may.
You know I went to Duke.
Yes, I do. I know you did, Charlie. I'm ready for this.
And you cast aspersions on those fine young men at Duke who happen to play basketball very well and may be embarking on a lucrative career in the NBA.
Right. Yeah, no, listen, this isn't about those young men. This is about a system that the grown-ups have allowed to come into place where you have a crazy situation where a coach is making $10 million a year and these players can't afford to go home and visit their families. It's nuts. And by the way, I've got no problem with these kids going to the NBA, but let's not call this students, because we're now recruiting these kids for an NBA tryout, not to go to college. So I really think this is about reforming a system. And, listen, whether it's Kentucky or whether it's Duke or whether it's another school, I think one and done is not good for college basketball.
So what would you change?
It may be good for the NBA.
How would you change it?
I think we could do one or two things. We could either say, let's stop the artifice of pretending. I mean, Calipari is not recruiting kids to go to college. He's recruiting kids, saying to them, do one and done at my school because more of my players go to the NBA. And so let's say, go straight from high school if you want to go. On the other hand, if you're not going to go straight from high school and you're going to be in college, let's make sure that these kids at least have a stipend so they're not having to break the rules to have enough money to go out for pizza. And the thing that's heartbreaking to me, Charlie, is so many of these kids' families can't afford to travel and see them play.
Yeah,
that's crazy when these coaches are making $10 million a year. I mean, we're making billions off this NCAA college basketball. Their families ought to be able to come and see them, watch them play if the coach can make $10 million.
Senator
So that's
McCaskill.
the
You should
kind of
lead the
stuff
charge
I
to
want to
change
do.
it.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
We're listening.
A lot of people agree with you on that, Senator. So there you go. Basketball, Iran, and Hillary Clinton. You've covered
There
it
you
all.
go. Yeah.
Thank you, Senator McCaskill.
That's a three-pointer. Three-pointer, Senator McCaskill.
There you go. Swish.
Swish. She's a basketball fan. I like it.